What's going on? Let's take a look here. Okay, we're going to take a minute and we're going to get into a topic that I think will help a lot of people. And it's something that I fielded a lot of questions from and got a lot of feedback on, but I think makes a lot of sense to get into. And it's going to center around and focus on LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn, the platform, and LinkedIn, the app. So why am I getting into LinkedIn, and why am I spending any amount of time talking about LinkedIn? Why is LinkedIn something that I feel needs to be addressed or needs to be talked about? So a lot of people hit me up or will DM me or message me about LinkedIn or about Instagram or about any other social media platforms that they feel they want to explore or they haven't explored. And they always say, like, John, I want to work in the defense business, or I want to work in the firearms business, or I don't know where to begin. And, where do I start? And, you know, I'm always kind of one that's like, okay, I understand that. I get it. So let's kind of back into that. You get very fixated on one platform. You get very fixated on podcasts if you're into podcasts. So you get very fixated on Instagram if Instagram's your thing, and that's what you're jonesing on, and you're focusing on IG, and you're focusing on just that space, and that becomes a space for you that's very near and dear, and that's what you love. Okay. You really don't start to venture off into other areas, and you don't start to look at other areas, and that's wrong. So you should look at different areas, and you should look at some of the different spaces out there that you're not taking advantage of. And I would suggest to a lot of people who are looking to get into a certain business, and I mean legitimately get into a business, because I feel like a lot of people think that they want to be in a certain business, but they don't understand everything about that business. So it's important to kind of really peel back the layers and understand that. LinkedIn is a platform that was started by people sharing their resumes. Essentially, that was what it was built on. It was a resume sharing um, uh, platform. And people didn't fully understand everything about it. So people abandoned it right away. They walked away from it. They said, I don't want to mess with this. This doesn't make sense for me. I'm not even going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. And people kind of ran for the hills from LinkedIn. Over the last couple of years, LinkedIn has done a fantastic job curating its data and curating its platform and making it a lot more conducive for people to dial in what they want to dial in, and what they want people to see, and what they want people to um, to understand about business to business relationships and person to business relationships. So this became super prominent um, over the last couple of years with the rise and resurgence of jobless claims, everything else. So recruiters had to work a lot harder to get people's attention, and this was something that kind of caused LinkedIn to start to think more as a social platform, and more as a platform that was user friendly and had a lot of good quality keystrokes, good visuals, everything that would make sense for somebody who was trying to dial in and drill into a new space. So I get hit up all the time, and people will say to me, they'll say, John, I want to start a career in such and such. And I'll say things like, oh, really? You know, um, okay, like, you want to get into that space. Cool. What have you done to do that? Well, I have an Instagram. And that's like the worst answer you could ever get, right? Like, oh, I have an Instagram. Like, that's not going to be enough. It's not going to be the right path. It's not going to be the right way alone. You need to develop what something I talk about all the time, which is your relationships. And you need to start to study all of your relationships and what those relationships look like. So, in like I always do, I want to really dial in for you guys why this space is something different and something new. So I'm going to show you my LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you kind of what I like about LinkedIn and why I think it's changed so much for people that are trying to get into this as a user-friendly platform to kind of develop themselves a little bit more. So this is my LinkedIn. So if you take a look at my LinkedIn, on here I have a whole bunch of things kind of going on at once. You have a general feed like you always have on Facebook and Instagram and everything else, and you can scroll through that feed and see the different posts people are doing. Here's one from the Boston Beer Company, and so on and so forth. This is a great place to just get up something that you're working on and get it out to people that could be influencers. Okay, so I have a lot of friends on here, and I'm not going to get into who they are and what they do because they probably wouldn't like that. But you can see in here I have the premium package, so I can see who's viewed my profile. I can see who's viewed my posts. I can see saved articles that I've posted, different hashtags and things that are trending, and different things that are going on. There's also a huge notifications tab here where it'll tell me kind of what's going on with my notifications, and then I can see who's in my network or who's joined my network recently, and it'll tell me who's come into my network. And if you head back to the homepage, you can craft a post just as you would anything else. I can start a post and say, something like, I am live talking about LinkedIn. Tune in now. So I can do something along these lines, not only to draw people into whatever I'm doing, and I can tap a couple of hashtags and a few things in there, but this is something that can be a valuable tool. And then there it is. And the people I'm targeting on LinkedIn are very different than the people I would target on any other platform. It wouldn't be the same kind of people. I'm targeting more of the folks that can help me build my brand, build my business, help me, grow things a little bit more, help me, reach out to more of a business to business type person. And that's really who I'm going after. Whether it's someone who's a CEO of another company, someone who's an influencer with another brand, anybody of that ilk, not necessarily people that are, just kind of kicking tires on Instagram. And that's what I refer to on Instagram. People that are kind of kicking tires, just kind of coming by just to like a picture and coming by just to kind of say hi to me, So I really enjoy and I really like the idea of LinkedIn. I like it a lot. And I think people should be exploring it more. I think it's something that makes sense. If you haven't looked at it recently, there's been a lot of changes that have taken place with it. There's been a lot of things that have shifted with LinkedIn. And I think that it can be something that you don't necessarily have to put a monumental amount of effort into it. You can work it very easily. You can work it very simply. You don't have to put a million hours of effort and time and everything else into it. So don't be afraid to explore looking at LinkedIn as an option, as a viable option. So make sure that you spend some time kind of taking a look at it. And if you haven't taken a look at it, I really think that it could make a lot of sense for some of you guys out there, especially those guys that are trying to figure out how to get into a career, whether it's through aerospace, defense, maybe you're looking for a security guard job. And I'm going to get into kind of how that works and how that job search tab and how that stuff can kind of help you. So if you head over, and I'll cut to the screen again here. The screen, what they have that's really cool, if you're searching a job and it says your dream job is just a search away, and you wanted to say you were looking for something as a CEO, as a chief executive officer, and you were looking, you know, say for example, across the United States, okay, just to type it in, okay, here's a listing of every CEO job in the United States. Then they also have this LinkedIn feature that's Easy Apply. You can click that box. And what Easy Apply allows you to do, it allows you to apply for a position rather easily. Now, I don't want to spam somebody's inbox, but let's take a look and I'll give you guys an example. You can head over to something like UC Davis Health, for example, and apply and submit application. You can scroll through and you can look at different available openings, different things that are out there that might, you know, get your attention, that might make some sense. And you can just apply for them that simply. So you can go through and apply for multiple jobs as much as you want. Now, what you get with some of the LinkedIn tools, if you have some of the more valuable premium services, you can get different things like Pro Finder, Insights, Salary Finder, how to negotiate for your job, and so on and so forth. So LinkedIn offers a lot of, and I'm not going to get too deep into all the little nuances of LinkedIn, but I want you guys to understand that the feed has dramatically improved. The ability to communicate business to business, person to business, person to person, executive to executive has improved dramatically. So if you want to target people in a particular area that you're trying to build out some influence in, or you're trying to build out some of your growth in, you can do that very, very easily using things like LinkedIn. So that's really something that you should take advantage of. It's something that I think for a lot of folks would be very helpful when they start to ask questions like, how do I work in the defense industry? Or how do I work for a firearms company? Or how do I work for an aerospace company? Or how do I work for whatever company it is? That's just happens to be my background. What I would impart upon you guys, maybe it's sports and I have a sports background. Maybe it's finance. I have a finance background. So maybe among those things, you might find something that you're looking for, or find something that is tailored to you or makes sense for you to explore. So to everybody out there in podcast world or in YouTube world that, you know, has saw some of the screenshots that I've said, don't be bashful. I think the theme of this is a lot of people are becoming very centered around the quick return of Instagram, the quick return of likes, the quick return of that. And that's what Instagram's geared towards. They're not looking at expanding a little bit more into some of these spaces where you can get more eyeballs on your data and more eyeballs on what you're doing and what you're trying to do. So do yourself a favor, take a minute, take some time and look at services like LinkedIn. If you haven't explored LinkedIn, you need to. If you haven't looked at it as a viable opportunity, you should. Even if it's as simple as putting something up once a week or searching out. If you're looking for a job, you absolutely should be on there. But you should update your resume, update your contact information, update your data on there, and be active on there. Target some of the areas you want to target. Befriend some of those folks. Message them. Say, hey, I was thinking of getting into this career path. Here's my resume. What do you think? People even go so far as to post their whole resume on there. That's something you can explore. But you can reach out to some of these folks and you can really develop a good, strong rapport with a lot of them very, very quickly if you take advantage of some of the things that LinkedIn offers. So to everybody out there, we're in the midst of a giveaway and everything else. So we have 100 things going on, but I'm telling all you guys to check it out. And you can even go so far as, once you start to say maybe explore building a resume or anything else that you're doing on the platform, you can even take a minute and have people, if they go to your profile, and I'll show you guys my dashboard, you can have people head over and endorse you and give you different endorsements, which I have some endorsements on here, and they can offer you, endorsements in different areas of your skill set, podcasting, networking, everything else. So like podcasting, I have two clicks, so that's there. It has all my certifications, everything else. So do yourself a favor, and you can add sections to your profile. I have this dashboard that only I can see. I can see who's viewed my profile. I can see how many articles that of mine that have been viewed. I don't have any articles. Search appearances, and let recruiters know you're looking in salary insights, and you can see how your salary compares to the community. But all those different tools are available to you through that platform. So to everybody listening out there in social media, podcasting, every space that we're on as a show, please remember to check out some of the advantages of some of these other platforms. Don't get centered around one. Instagram is not the best place for you to have your resume, or to be job applying or job hunting. It's not geared for that. So do yourself a favor and don't be afraid to look outside of the box a little bit and into spaces like LinkedIn if you haven't checked it out. And for business to business relationships, person to business, as I said earlier, it can be one of those spaces. If you haven't taken advantage of it, you can develop a lot of relationships very, very quickly. So to everybody out there that's listening, please, if you're on iTunes, don't hesitate to leave a review. I need them. Please leave a review and share this episode with someone who's maybe looking for a job career, looking for, to get a fresh start, or looking to get their name out there, business to business or person to business. And to everybody on YouTube and every other platform, please like and subscribe. Please leave comments. Please let me know what you think. Please, please, please don't hesitate to send me a message. I will do my best to answer it, or leave it down in the comments and I can get to it right away. Hopefully everybody's had a great weekend. Hopefully this makes sense to a lot of folks. Don't forget to thank the sponsors, Kenzies, Taurus, Riton, Crossbreed Holsters, and of course, Canik. I appreciate everybody being involved. Continue to enter the contest, and thank you guys.